for watching my YouTube channel. This is Jason Clark Rides. We're back with another episode. We revealed in the last episode my bike here.
Gabriella. And she's Italian.
And we're going to get into going over it for a ride. You should do this occasionally, just go over the bike, make sure everything's cool and copacetic with it. Stick with me and we're going to get into that and show you what you need to do. The first thing you're going to need is the Aprilia Owner's Manual.
And she's Italian.
To be real, this is my binder that I made up. It's printed and downloaded. It's got the owner's manual and the service manual for professional service. I also keep track of stuff that I've done to the bike since I bought it. If you're on a budget, you're going to need this, the pencil air gauge, or the optional dial air gauge, a tape measure, or one of these handy little tools. This is a chain slack gauge. This is a nice addition to have for lubing and maintaining your chain. It is not necessary when you start out, but you'll want to add it if you have a bike without a center stand, and that's a paddock stand. Once the bike's on the paddock stand, it's in good position to be worked on. It's stable, it's not going to fall off. First step is we're going to clean the chain. We've got to get all the old gunk off from it. The first thing we're going to do to maintain our chain is we're going to rotate it and just look at it. Let's take a look. Let's start feeling the rollers and the chain itself. Are any of the rollers kinked up? Is it flexible? Is there too much side-to-side flex in it? We're going to look at a lot of different things. We're going to pull back on the sprocket here. We're going to feel how it is. This will tell you if the teeth are starting to wear in it. You can also visually look at the teeth to see if they're wearing. This chain looks pretty good so far. The lube seems to have stuck really good the last time. And it's still got quite a bit of lube on it. It's pretty impressive. What I've been using to do it is
Chain paste.
put down some rags or an old piece of cardboard. What do I like to use to clean my chain? This. There make specific chain cleaners that are much more expensive than this, but I find that this works just fine. Apply liberally to your chain. We're going to wipe all the crud off the chain. Really try to get the inside of it. Once you got all the gunk off your chain, reapply the WD-40. You're also going to need this. You can use an old toothbrush if you're really being frugal, but this is just a darn simple way to do it. Just keep in mind WD-40 is not a lubricant. There's more diesel and kerosene in it than anything else. And there is some lubrication qualities to it, but it's not the best lubricant out there. But once we get all the gunk off this chain, we're now going to brush it to loosen up any further dirt that may be on this chain. And this just makes it simple and easy to do it this way. Once you've gone a couple revolutions around with this from the inside, I'll give her a whack or two on the outside.
Once you have cleaned your chain with the brush, it'll look like this.
This is a good time to start cleaning up the rear wheel area. It's incredible how much fling you get.
Don't forget the spokes.
Once you clean the hub and spoke area, now I just wipe down everything around that got oversprayed. Maybe got a little fling off of the old lubricant. And just make sure the bike stays looking good and as clean as possible. Your rag is actually filthy after just wiping off the overspray and everything that gets on these bikes. But this is how you keep them looking good, keep them performing good for years to come. I've checked the slack with my chain slack gauge. You can do that with your tape measure as well. You want about 1 inch of play in that chain for this motorcycle. Check your user manual on your motorcycle to make sure of the chain slack settings.
Now we're ready for chain lube.
Today I'm applying the chain paste just because it's going to be hot out. We're expecting temperatures upwards of 90 degrees. And I know if I use the gear lube as opposed to the chain paste, you get a little more fling off. In the fall and the spring, I tend to prefer the lighter oil versus the chain paste, but today we're using the chain paste. I store it cap end down, squeeze a little bit out until it comes out the end. When it's like that, now you got some loaded into your brush and apply from the inside. And as you apply from the inside, roll the wheel. A little bit goes a long ways with this. You don't need a ton of lubricant on that chain. You just need adequate. Maybe 2 of these squirts into the brush, maybe 3. We'll look at the chain after 2 or 3 and determine if that's enough lubricant. I go around a few times to evenly distribute this, but the inside is the most important part. The outside of the plates, the lubricant basically does protect it against any rust and corrosion. This is important to do if you ride through crappy, salty roads. After a rain, re-lubricate your chain. If you're riding in a rainstorm, you store your bike outside, inside and outside. Lubrication on those plates is pretty important. The inside is a hard one to get unless you can crank your arm underneath and kind of do one of these. Chain's cleaned and lubricated. If you decide that you're going to use the gear oil as opposed to the chain paste, it's going to be more economical. All you're going to need is I use a small art brush and just a throwaway container I had from some medication, and apply it liberally to the wheel. Keep in mind, overspray, blowing off from that, you get too much on there, it can get on your rear tire. That's not a good thing.
This is what I use.
When I first bought the Aprilia Shiver, I was having an issue with it. It had a pulsating brake. Some people would describe it as a warped brake rotor. And AF1 Racing was kind enough to give me a hand figuring that out. It's nothing more than pad buildup on the rotors, and I'm going to show you how to clean that off. The next optional piece of equipment that you can have in your toolbox, and this is something that I bought just specifically because this bike, after I bought it, the front wheel needed to come off. I bought a front wheel paddock stand. Make sure it's on the rear paddock stand before you use the front paddock stand.
Okay, we're going to show you how to use the front paddock stand.
Simply just make sure that the pads are underneath each leg squarely below the leg of the front end of the motorcycle. Press down. The bike will rock forward. Like so.
What do we use to clean our rotors?
To clean the rotor, you're going to take your brake clean and a fresh clean rag, apply it to the rag, apply it to the brake rotor while it's on your paddock stand, rotate the rotor with the rag on it, Do both sides. That's all there is to caring for your rotors on this. We'll eliminate the catchy buildup of brake material. Don't forget to do the rear too. Now is a good time to check the brake fluid in your brake fluid reservoirs. You have a front one and a rear one. You also have a hydraulic clutch on this. We'll check those levels now. The levels look fine on the front brake and on the clutch. Here's your rear brake reservoir. It looks full as well. You should check your radiator fluid as well. It's hard to see in the video, but it is filled. But wait, there's more. Like looking over the condition of your front brake lines and rear brake lines. Ensure that they're in good shape and that there's no leaking at the caliper itself, and just make sure everything looks good.
It's time to check the oil. What? No dipstick? Ah!
This motorcycle uses a sight window. It looks about right in the middle to me. Time to check the air pressure. The manual says 34 psi in the front, 36 psi in the rear, according to the weighting of the bike. According to this gauge, I'm 4 pounds light from this spring. Once you've aired them up, don't forget to put your valve caps back on. Very important to keep dirt out of the valve stems. Just checked it with my trusty gauge. I'm about 3 pounds light from last spring here, so we're going to add some air to this one too. Finding the right angle is always a good thing when you're trying to use one of these type of inflators. And there's other types. There's the 90 degree. You can have angled valve stems put on your motorcycle. Oh, we got too much in. Well, let's let a couple pounds out. It's now a perfect 36 pounds. Don't forget to reinstall your valve stem cap. I'm now going to check all the lighting and safety features of this bike to make sure everything's working in proper functioning order. How about the headlight? Yes, and the high beam works too. Do all of the indicator lights work as they're supposed to? Yes, they do. How about the four-way flashers? How about the left turn signal? The right turn signal?
But wait, there's more.
Don't forget to do the rear. Brake light. License plate light. Front brake light. Rear brake light. The horn.
We're all ready to take this bike out for a ride now.
Now that we've completed all the basic look over of the motorcycle to make sure it's in good functional condition, ready to ride, it's been maintained properly, it's not ready for an oil change yet, that may be coming up in future episodes, and other maintenance items that do need to be done on it on a schedule.
Give us a thumbs up.
Like us, subscribe. We are going to be doing something for charity in the future. Tell me what you like, what you don't like about my videos, and they'll just keep getting better. Get out there and ride.